Good evening and welcome to Corporate News. I'm Anna Kale and I'm here with Elsie, aka Janine, from Shadowrun Corporate Sins, here to recap last week's episode.
Yes, so last week's episode involved the return of Nassim Daylon to Mrs. J. But getting him back to our contact ended up being a lot more difficult than we originally thought it would be. So after a time in the apartment when we were dealing with Nassim's withdrawal from Bliss, Elsie ended up going out, kind of sneaking out of the apartment to score some bliss for Nassim to keep him docile.
Oh goodness. So they sent the teenager to go and get drugs.
She volunteered because she was probably the most knowledgeable about them. Meanwhile, Mordecai met up with his talismonger girlfriend, just friends, to get a detox spell for Nassim that ended up being very effective for a short amount of time.
Excellent.
So they decided to take Nassim by van to the meetup spot, but unfortunately were intercepted because, unknown to us, Nassim had a tracker in him still, as well as a bomb in his brain.
Ooh, excellent.
Yes.
Extra levels of security. And now Nassim is the person you were hired on a run to go and collect and extricate from a corporation. Right. And you did search for trackers, but he had another one.
He had another one that was running in silent mode that we did not know about.
As well as a bomb in his brain.
So after a lengthy car chase and fight, it was revealed that Mainframe is actually an elf who's been kind of passing as human this whole time.
I, of course, personally was very excited to find this out. I'm big proponent of elves in Shadowrun.
There were lots of breadcrumbs dropped on that trail, and now we know the truth.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Quite the bombshell, though, certainly.
Absolutely. So the team ended up defusing the bomb in time and getting Nassim to the contact. It ended up the job, we had been hired by the Draco Foundation. And so we all parted ways with Mordecai not knowing if he was going to return to the group, if Shadowrunning was in his future.
Oh, goodness. Because he's been saying for a while that this is his last run for every run that Mfek has done together.
Yeah.
So it's possible that this time this was his last run.
Yeah, so we parted ways with the idea that we knew that Mrs. J would not be contacting us for a while, and that might be the last we see of Mordecai. So.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Wow, so quite an exciting pajama party,
yes,
certainly.
Indeed, lots of quizzes were done.
Absolutely. So if people have questions for Elsie or Janine playing Elsie, either one, pop them into chat. Make sure you use one of our names so that we can see them nice and easily. And I'll give you a couple of moments for that. We do have some extra time. I, of course, need to recap the news in the Corporate Wars metagame, but we've got a couple of minutes to answer some questions if anyone wants to toss them into chat really quickly. So I probably should have had a question ready to stall, but things I'll remember for next week. What was Elsie's Boston business? Now, bear in mind, you do not have to answer any of these questions. You don't have to give away too much background information if you want, if you think it's best for it to come out during the story. But feel free to answer however you like.
Well, I will say, in the case of that is spoilers.
So there you go.
But I will say that I will tell you that Elsie grew up in Boston.
Elsie grew up in Boston. So now, perhaps this is a good question. What recent events in Boston might have been an obvious reason, if not the reason, but certainly a powerful reason for anyone to want to leave Boston in this era.
Right. Well, as you know, there's been a bit of a lockdown with nanobites running rampant through the city. So that certainly is part of a reason to get out of there.
Certainly. The nanites that can actually, we were talking about this before the show a little bit, these are nano robots that can reprogram your brain.
That are pretty microscopic.
Yeah. They're on the nano scale. I don't even remember what it's... Yeah. They're very, very small, and they get inside of you and reprogram your brain. How cool is that? But yes, how terrifying. Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Since we talked about it, will Elsie ever go and get Mordecai to reveal about his girlfriend? You never did get an answer.
Well, I mean, I hope so. I think it's going to take a lot of pressure to get any information out of that.
I think it might end up having to be that there needs to be a setup involved so that Mordecai maybe can go on a date. Of course, this is assuming that he even returns.
I know.
We don't know.
We don't know what has happened to him since we last met. Some time has passed.
Yes.
So.
Yes, Alien Knitter, I did. It's brilliant and amazing storytelling potential. It's amazing. Don't judge me. What does Elsie really think of elves? Since there are none here right now. Very funny, White Wabbit. Very funny. Is Elsie hiding a secret like Mainframe? I think that the world of Shadowrun is full of secrets.
I agree. I think there are secrets, and I think there's things that you just don't know about Elsie yet. So, yeah, both of those.
Interesting.
Yeah. Is Elsie hiding a secret? What does Elsie really think of elves? Elsie really likes elves. Elsie really likes all metahuman, or I guess that's a word for metahumans.
All metahumans, because even humans are metahumans now. So
Yeah.
Everyone is a metahuman, unless they're not. Like a dragon, for example. Not a metahuman. So thank you very much. I think I can let you go. It doesn't seem that we have too many. Since when does Elsie want to become an astronaut? Well, there's one quick one. Does Elsie want to be an astronaut?
I don't think so. I think the heights would bother her.
Here's a good one before you go. What is the most interesting thing Elsie has stolen?
Oh boy. There's some sensitive stuff. High value sensitive stuff, and that's all I'm going to say.
I hope that we get to find out that story sometime soon-ish. Sometime soonish. Thank you very, very much. You. And now the news. I don't know. I don't actually have a news theme. We're going to have to get on that. But what I do have is a big old pile of corporate actions that were taken in the corporate metagame called Corporate Wars. I didn't name it. I'm just told to call it that. So let me get over to where I need to be. All right. And tilt this up so that I can actually see it. Sorry, guys. Okay, so all of the corporations in this past week played it really, really safe. Zach and I were very surprised by this. The megacorps pretty much all did research or banked their points and very, very little else. It was kind of interesting because Zach in particular expected everybody to dive right in and start doing the attacks and throwing the runners, trying to book the runners. Nobody attempted to book the runners, and nobody attacked. Nobody at all attacked. There was not a single one. Everybody threw into R&D, banked their points, or did a PR campaign, for good or bad. As technology successfully performed some new research and development in medicine and pharmaceuticals, while Evo furthered their own research in biotechnology, Shiawase had a research and development that was successful, and they had a statement to say, and I will now read that to you. Shiawase Media Tech / Shiawase SimSense Studios has announced development of a new virtual reality home unit, the SMT VR6000. The VR6000 is an easy update to existing Shiawase Cybernetics safe implants. No need for any external headgear. Works both for any home vids with the world-renowned Shiawase VR conversion software, and of course, surfing the Matrix will never be the same. Pre-orders are now available. Horizon and Shiawase have both have had their media branches each furiously working on ways to reach new markets. And as well as Neonet had a positive PR campaign about their philanthropy. Neonet would like to thank the public for their continued support in pushing the limits of VR and AR Matrix technology. Neonet continues to bring the fastest and best enhanced reality and Matrix services to humanity everywhere, regardless of economic, geographic, or genetic status. Whether perpetrated by conventional criminals or so-called technomancers, Neonet remains at the forefront of public protection from digital terror. Your security is in our hands. The future runs on Neonet. So, as well, Seder Krupp had a statement about their research and development that is on their new learning robot. They said, presenting the new way to homeschool. Over the course of K through 12, the CLERM will teach, train, and interact with your growing child. Included is a complete curriculum, including AP classes and college-level material. It is delivered in the shape of an all-knowing and wise dragon, of course. Enrollment of the pupil makes certain that they will have a bright future working for Seder Krupp, as they are contractually bound by ownership and use of the CLERM to work for Seder Krupp at the conclusion of its lessons. The dragon thinks one step ahead for your children. Do you? Seder Krupp, one step ahead. Additionally, there was a bit of a scandal at Mitsuhama Tech. The CEO of Mitsuhama Computer Technologies has landed in a bit of hot water. Earlier this week, footage was leaked allegedly showing the esteemed CEO in compromising position with a robot unit, identified today as ZAX 5000. According to ZAX 5000, a non-sentient regular working unit that was not produced for the entertainment industry, it does not remember engaging in adult activities. Evidence that the unit has been tampered with was found during an investigation by the local law enforcement Special Robotics Division. But by what party the tampering was done has not yet been determined. A spokesperson for MCT has declined to comment. Mitsuhama, incidentally, has also recently stepped up their law enforcement research, perhaps in an attempt to prevent further incidents of this kind, or at least to continue to ensure that such campaigns can be readily debunked. That is all that I have for the news for today. Keep those wonderful news reports coming. We are, of course, deep into the first week. The first week, in fact, has wrapped up of our corporate wars, which is fantastic. It's been a very, very successful week. We've definitely been pleased with the reception that the corporate wars have had. We are listening to all of your feedback. We are listening to all of your feedback with regards to how we run the metagame, the Corporate Wars game. So make sure you keep that coming. We have locked the market at 5:30 this evening, local standard time, or local daylight time, I suppose it is. And the orders for your action points should be coming in as we speak. You may be occasionally hearing a little blooping noise during this particular cast as the various corporate CEOs are sending me their pay data, if you will, their data on how they would like to spend their actions this week. Now, some of you may be asking what I'm talking about. Some of you may be curious, tuning in for the first time, or tuning into the news show, tuning into Shadowrun Corporate Sins a little bit early, and wondering what this random elven lady is talking about. Corporate Wars is our game around a game. Corporate Sins is our Shadowrun role-playing game here on Rabbit Power Go. And the Corporate Wars is a game built around that is designed to engage you all, the viewers, particularly our subscribers. It's designed to be a reward for your support. A way for you to get in on the game, to interact with the game, and even interact, of course, with Shadowrun Corporate Sins itself. Now, one of the main points of I'm trying to think of the right word. One of the major critiques or ways that it has been pointed out that we could improve this is by having the game actually interact with Shadowrun Corporate Sins. We are working on that within the next week, at most 2, I would say, but hopefully within the next week we will have ways for you to use AP or to use the market shares that your corporation has earned to directly affect the game in some way, shape, or form. Now, back to telling you what the metagame is. It's designed for our subscribers to join our Discord server. For those of you that don't know what Discord is, it's an awesome chat utility that does voice communications, and eventually we'll do video communications as well, but it's also got multiple chat rooms built in. So as a subscriber, you can join our Discord server, and once you are there, you can join one of the 10 mega corporations in the Shadowrun world. Once you've joined a mega corporation, now bear in mind, corporations are for life, or at least nearly so. Once you've joined a corporation, you get to start having a say in what ways you want your corporation to act. You've got a chart that hopefully the moderators can put in with the basic rules, but also the straylogic.com/HRPG will tell you how each of the corporations are doing as far as gaining their action points, as well as on various tabs within that page, you can see what the various rules, what you can do with those action points, as well as what your market share is in particular segments, and how you can possibly improve those. So, the Corporate Wars game is still very, very much in development. We are still working on pushing it into fully fleshing out and developing it as a full game around the game, like I've been saying, that interacts with the Shadowrun RPG in a non-intrusive way. And that's been the real trick with designing it, is we don't want to have it be too invasive to your viewing experience or too invasive to the narrative of Shadowrun Corporate Sins. And so we're working really hard on bringing that to you. But all of these news stories that I just went over for you were actual actions that the corporations took within the last week. They played it really conservative, all doing research. So it actually made my job kind of easy. And I know this week there are plans to make it a lot more complicated. And that means that it's more interesting. Very, very much more interesting, and more interesting for all of you, both the players and the viewers that aren't necessarily participating. This has been just the first week of the metagame Corporate Wars, and we've learned a ton from the data that we're going to use to improve the game going forward, but obviously we need to keep collecting that data. One day or 1 week is not enough time to completely rewrite anything, but small changes over time. And I think that this week we're going to learn even more as the different corporations ramp up their activities and get a little more aggressive. They played it super safe last week, so I have a feeling that at least a couple will be really, really aggressive this week, and I'm looking forward to seeing how all of that plays out. And of course, after this show is Shadowrun Corporate Sins, and after Shadowrun Corporate Sins, we go out and the corporate CEOs right now and over the course of the next 2 hours will be sending me their action point purchases, the different things that they want their corporations to be doing over the course of the week, whether it's researching, attacking, doing PR campaigns, what have you. That is going to take place over the next couple of hours, but at the end of the Shadowrun episode, we will see Zach and I come out and illustrate through dice rolls all of the various actions that the corporations are intending to take. So, so as we wrap up Shadowrun, the Shadowrun Corporate Sins game, we'll come out, we'll roll the dice for determining the actual results of the actions that the corporations can take, and reveal the basic degree of success or failure that may come about. And then some of this stuff won't actually take place until next week. Last week, there was one corporation that had a successful espionage campaign. That won't go into effect until after their actions tonight, as a sort of way to increase strategy as well as disguising some actions a little bit. It'll be very, very interesting. Did I bring all of the tables this time? I have them all right in front of me. I had them all last week, but unfortunately I left one in this very room that I am in right now. So now, if anybody has questions about the Corporate Sins game or the Corporate Wars game built around it, please do post it into chat, and I will do my best to answer those questions. So, give you all a moment for that. I do notice that coming in, so I can't actually give you the official counts for action points while we wait for people to possibly come in with their questions, get their questions in. EvoCorp comes out on the top with 19 action points. 19 action points before the market closed. Shiawase comes in with 17, not too far behind. And then the next two highest corps are trailing by a lot. Renraku and Seder Krupp both come in with 10 action points. Following them is Ares as Technology and Wuxing, and I apologize again for the pronunciation of that one, with 8 action points each. Ares as Technology and Wuxing have 8. Mitsuhama and Neonet each have 7, and Horizon follows in the end with only 6 points. So those points are, of course, calculated based on the number of subscribers that are in each corporation, as well as the number of tips or gratuities that have come in over the course of the week using the appropriate corporate hashtag. So now I've got a couple of questions. Are there any tweaks to the metagame that you're planning so far? White Wabbit, yes. Yes, there are already a number of tweaks that have been added. The main thing that we've had to do over the course of the week has been fill in the blanks, fill in the holes where we didn't anticipate all of the players coming up with a possible action that they really want to do, and us needing to build around it to figure out a way to do it. So that was the main thing, and I am told that Shadowrun Corporate Sins is ready for you all to head in there and watch. So I'm going to wrap it up. Enjoy the show, everyone, and I will see you at the end and then next week for another corporate news. Bye, guys.